So, Jason, you've talked so much about the distribution dire straits, the lack of liquidity, venture capitalists struggling to return cash to their LPs. What's going to happen to venture? Well, Figma is here to save the day. The good news is that Figma has raised its IPO price range, Jason, from 25 to 28 to 30 to 32, which means that this design unicorn, this amazing business that was built by Dylan and backed by companies like Kleiner Perkins and many other venture capitalists, is going to debut at, we think right now, roughly an $18.6 billion valuation at the midpoint of its raised range. A big day for Figma, a big day for venture capitalists. This is bullish as hell. I love it, Jason.
The new valuation, 18.6. The price that was going to be paid by Adobe was 20. And that was 2 years ago, I believe, 2.5 years ago. So they've grown a lot in 2 years, and they still are. They're going to get the same price. So another way to look at that is if you owned, $1 million worth of Adobe, you could have gotten that money out 2 years ago, put it into the index funds, and been up 10% a year for 2 years, and you would have 1.2 and change. It's great that they're almost back to that peak valuation. When big companies buy a private company, they do have to pay a premium on the valuation. So if Adobe did want to go back and try to buy Figma in the public markets and make them an offer, it would have to be 20 or 30% more than their public market valuation. So, they would have to pay probably $25 billion. $250,000 in revenue means $1 billion a year. And so, this is 20 times or 18.6 times yearly price to sales ratio. That's very juicy.
Very juicy.
Very juicy. So not sure if this is expensive or not. Still growing at 40%, you said?
Yeah, I think it was about 41% in the second quarter. They have preliminary numbers, Jason, because they haven't quite finished their books. But I got to say, the first range seemed cheap. I wrote that down. I said, guys, I think this is light. It's going to go up. It did. I think right now it's kind of fairly priced based on fundamentals. But how much have we spent talking about the meme stock era, Jason? So I think retail is going to retail. I don't know, though, if we should say, Figma had a 30% day one pop because the GameStop folks got a hold of it. Therefore, it should have been valued at a higher point in its IPO. But that's a long-running discussion in VCs about leaving money on the table when it comes to public offerings.
Yeah,
but it's a great day.
The good news is I know there's a lot of VCs and LPs who are going to benefit from this. Last year, when I gave that KPMG talk, I talked about the distribution dire straits and what would happen, and that this was all because of Lina Khan, or largely because of Lina Khan. And sure enough, here we are. IPOs, we had Circle, CoreWeave, eToro, Figma. When is Figma going to go out?
I don't know if we have a date yet, but I just want to underscore your point, Jason, really quickly. This is some math that I ran. This was at $28 per share, but just taking a look at the share counts from Index, Greylock, Kleiner, and Sequoia, it was between $1 billion and $1.8 billion in essentially money they're going to earn from this IPO. Now, take these numbers, amp them up, to $30 to $32 a share, and they're even higher. Huge amounts of money.
I mean, you've got 4 firms that are going to distribute $1 to $2 billion to their LPs. That is unbelievable and great for the industry.